reckon Drew McIntyre starts working his way through his hit list, taking out more OG Bloodline members. And
Triple H, you had it, man. You had it in the palms of your hand. A perfect storyline. One that had never been done and one that can't be replicated, and you let it slip through your fingers. Triple H, I'm not here to say that you're a bad booker. No, you're an amazing booker, but sometimes you have it all laid out. All of your long-term storytelling just comes to the perfect point, the perfect fork in the road, and at the last second, you flinch and you go the wrong direction. Man, Triple H, we had Drew McIntyre, the Bloodline Hunter, and somehow slipped through your fingers. Somehow we fumbled that. Somehow we lost one of what could have been one of the strongest, greatest characters, I think, of all time. And gone. And not just that, but we even lost out on another Bloodline storyline. And I'm not just talking like, oh, here we go again, Roman versus Solo Sikoa. No, I'm talking Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Jimmy Uso, the original Bloodline. We could have had an original Bloodline storyline, and we missed out on that too. Because if you think about it, you don't need the Bloodline together if Roman's a face. If Roman is now so powerful that he doesn't need help ever, then the Bloodline never has to be together unless it's some kind of team environment like War Games. And without War Games present, well, they could just all go on their own unless there was a guy who was hunting them down one by one with friends, with backup. Then the Bloodline would have to rally and form their unit again. And one of the best things about this is that Drew wouldn't have even been chasing a championship. He was just chasing revenge. However, if you want to chase a championship, you can chase this one right here. All you got to do is comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification. And that's it. That's it. Once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to be closer to quitting my day job and following my dream to become a full-time YouTube content creator, but you will be entered into winning this belt right here, because once you comment, you're entered. Also, I'm probably going to give away a belt this Saturday because Double A Enterprises never claimed his belt, and he has until Friday. If he doesn't claim it on Friday, then on Saturday we are going to roll the wheel again and give away a belt this Saturday. So come to the live stream. Also, one more thing before we continue on with the video. If you are a member of the channel, please migrate to Patreon. On Patreon, I have like 100 times more perks, actual perks on Patreon that you can be a part of, whether it be Discord, watch-alongs, just anything. Deleted scenes even. I'll do a dance for you if that's what you want on Patreon. Anyway, so Drew McIntyre. Oh, we could have had it. We could have had it all. We could have had a super strong end boss Drew McIntyre and the entire original Bloodline together, and it wouldn't have been forced, because that's where we were leading. That's where we were leading. When Drew McIntyre came back from the greatest feud of last year, he realized he saw CM Punk with Roman Reigns, and he's like, okay, well, you know what? That's a bribe, whatever. But then he saw Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn throw up the ones, and he was like, oh my God, after everything Roman did to them, to us, to WWE, how dare they? And then Drew McIntyre, as a righteous, honorable man, because that's who he believes he is, and that's the best villains. The best villains believe they are honorable. He sets his sights on destroying, dismantling the Bloodline, and he comes back. He attacks Jey Uso. He goes after Sami Zayn. He beats Sami Zayn on Saturday night's main event. He attacks a broken-toed Jimmy Uso. It's awesome. Drew McIntyre is waging a war, and while that's happening, Seth Rollins is mad at CM Punk because Seth Rollins sacrificed a lot too to take Roman out of power, and now you're helping Roman? So now they got beef because of Roman Reigns. What about Kevin Owens? He's on the other brand. This hatred of Roman, it's all over the place. Kevin Owens says, they've been attacking me for 4 years. How dare you team up with him at Bad Blood? Attacks his best friend, Cody. Well, maybe not his best friend, but his friend, Cody. And we could have had those three. Those three could have teamed up, and we were alluding to it. Kevin and Drew, they would be in the same building, and their goals would align, but they were never seen together. So it's kind of like they were off camera making plans. And then Drew kept going up to Seth, and Seth kept getting mad about it. But even one time Seth was like, you know what? Jury's still out on you. They could have done it right there. Seth could have teamed up. Seth and Kevin, they could have all came together under Drew McIntyre, and instead of forming the new Shield, they could have been called Sword. Stole that idea from Wrestle Talk. A good idea is a good idea. I heard it from Wrestle Talk, so thank you. But yeah, they could have just called themselves Sword. Drew McIntyre has a sword, and it could have been a play off of Shield, and they could have been attacking the Bloodline. But then what happened? We go to Netflix. Jey Uso versus Drew, and that's fine, because Drew had already beat Sami. He walks through the curtain, says, 1 down, 4 to go. He's fighting Jey Uso. Oh, before he fights Jey Uso, this was awesome too. He goes up to Solo and says, Solo, I kind of want to hurt you because you are the reason why I lost at Clash of the Castle, which started this whole downward spiral of Drew McIntyre.
You're the one that cost me the WWE title.
But you're the only one who has ever stood up against your cousin, so I respect that.
The only one in your family that had the balls to stand up to Roman Reigns.
So we'll go after each other when it's all said and done. I'm going to hunt all the bloodline. You take care of your cousin. If you're left standing, I'll come after you then. Honor among thieves. Drew McIntyre was he had so many layers. He was a freaking onion, right? He was an onion with so many layers. Makes me want to cry because he had such a great villain. And then what happens on the first episode of Netflix? Jey Uso wins. I love Jey Uso. I'll even say, let him do his encores of Yeet. But give me a break. Just because I love Jey Uso, I cannot deny that this was such a missed opportunity. It totally derailed this storyline. And we could have got back on track even, but right now, totally done. Right then and there, because if the goal is to take out each member of the bloodline, working his way up so he can get to the final boss, but he can't get past Jey Uso, then what's the point? Then he's not a threat. He's no longer a threat to Roman if he can't get past Roman's minions. All right? And yeah, it was a roll-up, so he's protected. I don't buy that. I don't want... Man, I just can't buy that anymore. And I'm just so mad at what we lost, what we could have had. And so yeah, Drew loses right there. But there was hope. There was hope, because the next night, or the next Raw or something, we have Drew says, you know what? I did my part. I held off Jey Uso. Seth, why didn't you do something to make sure Roman didn't get his Ula Fala back? And so, the storyline could have sort of been going back together. It wouldn't have been perfect, but they could have did it, because Drew in his head, he did his part and held off Jey. I said it wouldn't have been perfect, but it was still possible. And then we go to the Royal Rumble. And we have a moment where Roman Reigns is in the ring and Drew McIntyre's number is called, and he comes out and he's like, this all started with you. Right there, those two, they should have just murdered each other. They should have, this was where it could have all got back in order. But what happened? Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre. What? Why? It should have been Roman to eliminate Drew McIntyre, or it should have been Drew McIntyre to eliminate Roman. We needed something. We needed this. Where's the Bloodline Hunter? Why is he with a program with Damian Priest, or even LA Knight? What's going on here? Where's this sword team up? Now, we did have Seth Rollins completely double stomp Roman into oblivion, and that was great. But we could have had that with the help of Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens. Those three should have 100% teamed up. We could have had those three feuding with the Bloodline. We could have had a 3-on-3 in some way, shape, or form at Elimination Chamber. You know what? Actually, Seth Rollins, he double stomps Roman Reigns, and then we have Jimmy, Jey, and Sami versus Sword, Drew, Seth, and Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber, and then they go on to WrestleMania, where we have this feud breaking down. We have Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. He's trying to get his win back, I guess, from first Netflix Raw. We have Kevin Owens fighting Sami Zayn at WrestleMania, and we can still have Seth Rollins fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We could have done all of this. All of this. We could have had a very bloodline-centric storyline leading into WrestleMania that had nothing to do with just bloodline versus bloodline. We could have just enjoyed the bloodline together again while we enjoyed just 3 awesome villains, like a super team-up of villains, and we could have built them all up. And Drew could have been like, you know what? This is more than a championships. This is more than just me. Seth, you have more history with Roman. You know Roman better than anybody. You built Roman. Therefore, you go after Roman. It's not about necessarily, it's not about my revenge. It's about what's best for business. And so he sends Seth after Roman. Kevin, you know Sami the most, and I've already beat Sami 11 times. You go take him out once and for all. I've got Jey. Jey didn't win the Royal Rumble, so he is kind of in a better spot now. But I argue that CM Punk should have won the Rumble. I argue that CM Punk should have chose Cody, and then John Cena should beat the Elimination Chamber and choose Gunther, while Drew, Seth, and Kevin are fighting the Bloodline at WrestleMania. This is such a missed opportunity here. Then eventually we could have Drew go and fight Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia or something. We could have got a lot of mileage out of this, but we chose to let Jey Uso win A, Netflix, and B, the Royal Rumble. I love Jey Uso. That's why I'm so mad. It's like we didn't need to. We needed to continue this course of this Bloodline Hunter. All the pieces were there. It was there. The story was there. It told itself. And yet at the last second we flinched. I don't know why. I don't know why we dropped the Blood Hunter storyline. I don't know why Kevin and Seth and Drew never got together. We're doing Roman and Seth anyways. We could have kept almost everything. Everybody would have had so many good storylines. Jey could have won King of the Ring. He could have wrestled at SummerSlam and won the title there. But oh well. Guess it wasn't meant to be. To Drew McIntyre, the Bloodline Hunter. What do you think, boys and girls? Was this a missed opportunity, or do you think that I'm right that the perfect story slipped through Triple H's fingers? Please tell me in the comments below. Boys, girls, have a great night, day, whatever it is. Whatever it is. If the sun is shining or the moonlight is on you, whatever that is, have a great one of those.